everyone, welcome back. We're diving into some seriously juicy stuff today, folks.
Oh, I'm excited for this one. We've got some great source material to dig into today, all about practical ways parents can support their kids' learning at home.
Right, and not just like the vague, be more involved kind of advice, but actual tactical stuff we can all use. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
So the first thing that really jumped out at me, and this came up a lot in our research actually, is the importance of environment, like
Mhm.
physically creating a dedicated study space for your child.
Ah, the classic study zone.
Exactly. But it's one of those things that sounds so simple, yet how many of us actually make it a priority? Our source really hammered home the importance of minimizing distractions.
It's funny. It's like we, as adults, already know this, right? We
Yeah.
crave those quiet spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, why do we all flock to coffee shops or libraries to work? Because something about a calm, dedicated space, it's
That
just
changes everything.
right. You can focus. And
Hmm.
kids, even more so. Their little brains are just like bombarded with sensory input all day long.
So even carving out a small corner, maybe with a desk or just a comfy chair.
And personalizing it. Don't forget that part. Let them choose a favorite poster or bring in a plant. Make it feel inviting, like their own little learning haven, not some sterile office cubicle.
I love that, their own little learning haven. And speaking of things that create a sense of ownership and calm, that smoothly transitions us to our next point, which is, you guessed it, routine, routine, routine.
The dreaded schedule.
Oh, I know. It's like trying to wrangle cats, right? Getting kids on a consistent homework and study schedule. But our source was pretty insistent on this one.
And there's good reason for it. Kids thrive on predictability. Just like an athlete thrives on a consistent training schedule. It dials down power struggles, reduces anxiety.
And helps them feel more in control of their own learning, which is huge.
Absolutely. When
Yeah.
they know what to expect, when it's not a constant battle of wills,
Mhm.
they're so much more likely to engage.
Okay, we've got the right environment. We've got a schedule in place. Now, what about us parents? How do we fit into all of this?
Well, the good news is you don't have to suddenly become a homeschooling expert overnight.
No PhD required.
Our source really emphasizes just being available, being present, being there to help with schoolwork when needed, but also
Being okay with not having all the answers. Exactly. Because let's be honest, sometimes we don't. But that's okay. It's more about,
it's about modeling that love of learning, that curiosity. Instead of stressing about having the right answer, show your child how to approach challenges, how to research, how to troubleshoot, how to even, dare I say, enjoy the process.
this whole routine thing really struck a chord with me. It reminded me of when my son was younger. Having that set homework time each evening it didn't magically solve everything, but it just gave our evenings so much more structure.
Those little routines, they might seem small, but they're actually incredibly grounding for kids, like little anchors throughout their day.
Right. They know what to expect. Speaking of things kids need but might resist, I bet you can guess our next tip.
Hit me with it.
Encourage reading.
Shocker.
I know. It's like it's all every list ever, but there's a good reason for that, right?
Yeah, because it works. Reading isn't just about enjoying stories, and don't get me wrong, that's important. But it's also about strengthening comprehension, expanding vocabulary,
Oh, and don't forget empathy.
right? Stepping into different worlds, learning about different perspectives, and going back to what we were talking about earlier about modeling. Let your child see you engaged in a book. Make it a family affair.
I have always been a reader, but I mainly thought of it as like my me time activity, a way to unwind. But you're so right. It's incredibly beneficial for kids' development. Okay, ready for our final tip.
Bring it on.
Celebrate progress. And this isn't just about straight A's and gold stars. Oh, absolutely. It's about acknowledging their effort, their growth. Did they struggle with a concept but then have that aha moment? Celebrate that. Did they bomb a test but then buckle down and ace the next one? Celebrate that. It's about showing them that you value their hard work and progress, not just the end result.
And those little celebrations, they can go a long way.
They really can. Maybe it's a special dessert, a family movie night, letting them choose what's for dinner. It doesn't have to be big or expensive, just meaningful. It's that positive reinforcement that builds confidence and nurtures a true love of learning.
Such a good point to end on. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from creating that perfect study haven to sneaking in those extra reading minutes.
My biggest takeaway, it's not about being a perfect parent. It's about creating an environment where learning is valued, celebrated, and, dare I say, fun. That's the dream. But really, as you go forth and implement all these amazing tips, I think the most important question to keep in mind is, what does success actually look like for your child?
What are your goals? And I don't just mean grades and test scores, but those bigger aspirations, the kind of person you hope they'll become. Think about that.
And on that note,
Until next time, happy learning, everyone.